Hey everyone, welcome back to Concept Craft. If you remember, in the last class, we studied about operating system and GUI, and I explained what is CUI, GUI, hardware, software, and the types of software, and what is operating system, and what are user interface. What is a user interface? So if you have not watched that video, please go watch that video first before coming to watch this video. This is the part 2 of that video, and where, as I told you, I'll be discussing the answers of the questions that I gave you to do as homework. You may check the answers and correct them if you have made any mistakes. Okay? So now I'll start telling you the answers. As you can see, the first question was, what does the acronym GUI stand for? You know what form? What does acronym GUI stand for? Means this acronym means something that is short form. For example, GUI. So the question is asking what is the full form of GUI? We know that that's graphical user interface. Okay, if you have written that, then great. Name one common commercial operating system. Microsoft Windows. Acha. Okay. Define what UI signifies in computers. UI stands for user interface. It signifies the medium or software layer through which a human interacts and communicates with the software system. So it acts as the means of communication or interface. Interface means as though it acts as a medium of communication between the user and the hardware. But because if the user is not able to communicate to the computer, the instructions won't be carried out, and we will not get an input or an output. Okay. Next question is, what does the acronym CUI stand for? As I explained what is an acronym. As I explained what is first meaning of acronym in the first question. So I hope you know what is the full form of CUI. What is the full form of CUI? The full form of CUI is Character User Interface. And if you have also written, but if you have also written command line user interface, that is also correct. Command line user interface, that is also correct. Okay. So now, next is high yield exam questions. I hope you have written those. Define an operating system from a computer applications perspective, and it is you have to also, along with the definition, you also may specify the function. If it is of 2 marks, if it is of 1 mark, then you may only write the definition, and make sure to give answers according to the marks. If there is 1 mark, that means you need to give 1 point, and if there are 2 marks in the question, you have to give 2 points minimum. You can give maximum 3 to 4 points, but also do not give too many points because then deduction of marks can take place. Okay. Write to the point and concise answers which are accurate and with keywords, because keywords are extremely important in examinations, which will help you score marks. Okay, don't just learn, understand and learn. Okay. Next question is, define an operating system from a computer's application perspective. The answer is as follows. An operating system is an essential system software. It is a system software, as I've explained in the previous session, that acts as an interface between the computer hardware and its user. It coordinates, manages, and controls all hardware and software operations. This is the function. And from an operating system to this, from the user, this is the definition. State two primary functions of OS. There are many functions of OS, as you know, but any two. So you may actually learn any four, because if the exam asks any three, if you've forgotten any one, you'll be at least able to write at least three of them. So learn four of them, any four, and read through the rest of them. Don't skip any. Ask me MCQs or fill in the blanks. Don't skip anything. Just if you do not want to learn specific points, you just remember it and you write it on your own words. Okay. Marks are awarded for that. Students are given the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Next is processor management. Assign the CPU to different running applications and schedules processing time. Okay. How much time it will take for specific work to be done, also by operating system. Memory management reallocates primary memory RAM space to various programs as needed. Okay. Define graphical user interface. A graphical user interface is a highly visual environment rendering graphic icons, windows, buttons, and menus. These are the things to which we these are the things that act as an interface between the user and the computer hardware. Okay, the ones I've underlined. It allows to interact with the system with the mouse, pointers, or such gestures rather than typing text instructions. We type text instructions in which user interface can you remember? CUI. If you've said that, then it is correct. Okay. These are the main user interfaces which I've underlined. Okay. Next, differentiate between CUI and GUI using two structural parameters. The question is, it seems hard, but it is just like differentiate between CUI and GUI on specific context, and the definitions, meaning the differences, should be compatible. Understood? First is primary media, visual elements, graphic icons, windows, buttons, and GUI is text, strings, rigid command, syntax, code lines. Okay. Input device. The input device in graphical user interface is highly optimized for mice pointers and touch screens. Okay. Explained all these strictly relies on keyboard text inputs. Okay. We don't use mouse for CUI that much. Now we come to the types of operating system. Your examples are extremely important. They'll give you an example and they'll ask which type of operating system is that. Let me tell you, except single user interface, all these four are common ones are Linux and Unix. These two are the common ones in multiprocessor, multi-threading, and multitasking. In single user operating system, you have to remember Windows 3.1, Windows DOS, Windows 95, any three you learn, okay? And Linux, Unix are all in these three, okay? Now, multiprocessor operating system. Missed the first one, my bad. First one is an operating system designed to manage the computer so that one user can effectively do one thing at a time. It allows a single user to log in and run applications concurrently. Okay? It means that only one user can use that operating system at one time or at the same time. Okay? Multiprocessor operating system, these are those operating systems which support more than one processor in the computer system. Okay? Yes, support more than two or more central processing unit, which is the CPUs, working together inside a single computer system. This configuration enables the execution of multiple operations simultaneously, greatly enhancing the performance speed. Some examples would be Windows Server, Windows Server, Linux, Unix, Mac OS. These are for Apple. This one, Mac OS, and Apple. These are all for Apple. Okay, not the Windows. This is also Apple company. Okay, same. Multi-threading. It allows many tasks. Okay, let me tell you what it is. An operating system that remembers different parts of or execution of parts of a single software application known as threads to run at the same time to increase application responsiveness and program efficiency. Okay. Multitasking that allows single user to switch between and run multiple separate programs and background tasks simultaneously. Like you're making a Word file, and you also then skip. You let that save, and you save it, or you like let it as it is, and then you go to the PPT. You start making a PPT. Then you remember you missed something in the word. You again go. While that you forgot what to type. You don't get an idea, so you Google it after opening Chrome. So that is what it is: multitasking operating system. And they did not mention one thing, which is multi-user. If it must be in your book, which is it allows more than one user to use the operating system at same or at different times. Okay, the examples of those would be Linux, Unix, and Windows 7, 8, 10, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. Okay, please check. I may be wrong, but most probably that is if I'm not wrong, that those will be the examples. Now, what is post? Post is power on self-test. Whenever we turn on a computer, that is known as booting. It must be in your book. What is booting? We turn on the computer. We turn the power on. We turn on the CPU on. The process known as booting. It the computer turns on. Okay. So what is post? While booting, it does post, which is power on self-test. It checks all its peripherals. Peripherals, if you do not know the meaning of peripherals, like computer has its peripherals are those components which are connected through the computer. Now, I hope you know what are peripherals now. POST stands for Power on Self-Test. This is a full form which can come in exam. What is the full form of Power on Self-Test? It is a built-in diagnostic program. Okay. Before reading this complex thing, let me tell you. Power on self. It happens after, during booting. It checks all its peripherals if they're working fine. If not, it shows a failure error on the screen, which if we not fix, we won't be able to use the computer. Okay, that is what is written. The built-in diagnostic program and testing sequence. Sequence why? Because it happens in a proper way. Okay, an order executed by the computer BIOS, basic input output system. Okay, this is or firmware instantly whenever a computer is switched on or rebooted. Okay. Explanation: before a computer can load its operating system, it must ensure its core physical parts are safe and functioning. Post acts as a safety checklist doing the following. These are the functions. Okay. Hardware verification, error signaling. Verifies that vital hardware components. Vital means important, such as the processor, primary memory modules, graphics, graphics hardware, storage drives, keyboard are connected and working. Error signaling: if the checks pass successfully, the computer gives a short beep beep notification and proceeds to hand control over to the operating system. If a vital component is broken not literally, but if it is not working or missing, okay, the system halts the boot process. Halts mean, if you do not know, it is what stops the boot process. Boot process meaning turning on the computer and triggers specific beep codes or error text on the screen to warn the user about what failed. That is it. That brings us to the end of the session of operating system and GUI. That's it. And these were the things that were in the most of the books. And if anything is additional in your book, please make sure to leave a comment, and I'll clear your doubt in the comment itself. Okay? Thank you for watching. Bye.